Welcome to the Women Tech Council Student Innovator Mentorship Podcast Series. I'm Sarah Jones.
And I'm Sydney Tetro, and we are co-hosts of this show.
This show provides conversations with women mentors who came through STEM pathways and launched successful STEM careers. Hello, everyone. I'm Sarah Jones, and today I have Dr. Hu on the show, and very excited to have her. She's had a very accomplished career and just a lot of interesting experiences. So, Dr. Hu, I'd love for you to introduce yourself for our listeners.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Hu. I am currently CEO and president of Innosys Inc. I have a doctorate degree from UCLA in electrical engineering.
That's fantastic. And is it okay if I call you Jennifer for the show?
Oh, yes,
okay.
Definitely.
Well, Jennifer, and something our listeners also might not know is you also have a physics degree. And, I just think it's incredibly interesting, two really rigorous from physics to electrical engineering. Tell us a little bit about your educational pathway, how you decided to get into a STEM degree, and maybe who influenced you along that pathway.
Actually, I started with a physics major, and I always believe physics is the way you understand how everything works. So it fascinated me, and so I chose that major for my undergraduate study. And then when I got to UCLA, where I got my advanced degree, I happened to, for electives, I happened to take a class from electrical engineering department, and it just opened my eyes of you can go from knowing how things work to actually create the things yourself. If I pursue an electrical engineering degree, so I started to apply for transfer of major, and using everything I learned about how things work, and then really use my heart to feel what I can use that knowledge for, allow me to be really good in terms of creating new devices, new electronics, and that's something I still enjoy a lot today. I always told people, even I'm the CEO and the president of the company, I still love the technical aspect of the company, and I still participate in it. And the reason I participated in it is just I won't give up any opportunity to be able to, maybe create something, everybody wants to use or want to, enjoy. So,
yeah, I really love your passion around creating, and I think one of the challenges when we're thinking about getting more women in STEM, it is really about changing that mindset from using technology to how do I create this? And you've had a lot of really cool innovations so far. Tell us maybe what is one of your big career highlights as far as something that you've created? Love to hear a little bit more about something that you're like, wow, I can't believe I got to do that.
Actually, I have around 40 patents.
Yeah.
So I create a lot of things, but one of them, it really make me proud myself. I was able to create some electronics which enable these small satellites to be able to carry these electronics and be able to transmit the power we need to be able to send the signal back and forth. I know it's a little bit technical, but basically I was able to give some take some ideas I learned and then apply my own idea to it and make some innovations. So it's possible for these small satellites to be able to have this electronics, and as results, there can be a lot of these satellites to support the next generation communications.
That's awesome. And it's all those incremental innovations, right, that enable us to connect the world and contribute to the technology. That's super cool. So if you think about like your pathway, how did you pathway into becoming a CEO? So I know you've been a professor, you've also been an educator in our K-12 school system. Tell us what how you found yourself becoming a CEO, or what inspired you to do that.
It's interesting. I think I always have this passion of I went from learning how things work to how to create things. And then I thought, how about if I create something, how do I, actually send this something to a lot of people out there and who can actually use it. And so while I was becoming a full professor at the U, I started to wonder whether there's something else I would rather to do, and so I decided to start my own business for the reason of so I can create something and I can learn how to market it and and produce it for people I'm creating this this products for. So that's how I started my business and become the CEO for it. And I remain the position of president of the company because that way I learn everything about sending something I create all the way to someone else who can use it, and so that that kind of lead me to be the CEO and president of my own startup, Innosys.
That's great. I really like that thinking around how do we make real impact. One of the reasons why Women Tech Council was never a group for just women engineers was because to actually make impact, you have to create the product, innovate it, create it, and then get it out there, right? And that requires marketing and sales and people that understand those competencies, and as well as all of the other functions, hiring great people. And a tech company is successful not because of just its technical competencies, but also all of the other things it makes to get that product into the hands of a consumer to actually use it. That's where the real impact happens. So I really like that you leapt from sort of the scientist laboratory into right the commercial side. That's a really awesome leap, and really a reminder to our women in STEM, right, who are maybe even just starting out with their STEM degrees, that's just a very beginning of their career.
Exactly.
And then there's a lot of ways to make that impact happen. So you've had a long career. You still have many, many years ahead of you. But if there's a challenge that you've sort of seen, throughout your career that you've been able to overcome and learn from, what would you share with our listeners around how you've been able to overcome certain challenges?
Yeah, I would say the biggest challenge I faced is making the change of carrying a very, very high level of a scientific mind. As I was a PhD, as I have a PhD degree in electrical engineering, and switch that into more of a kind of business mindset of thinking from a very, very simple consumers' point of view. What is people giving to me, and how should I use it? How should I love it? Why should I pay the money to buy it? And so I think that was the most difficult part, especially considering I did not have time to actually get a degree in business because I somehow was naive enough to start the business right after I left university. And so I really think what's helped me along and to be where I am today are two things. One of them is I believe I'm someone not fear of change. So for me, it really just understand what changes I need to make and making that change. But I was never afraid of making changes. I think that's something. I like to share with people. It's a lot of times we fail to make the changes we need to make because we were afraid of the change, and so we never even have the chance to know what's the change we need to make. And so I think that helped me along. And then I think the second thing helped me to be to make a successful transition was the fact of I'm not afraid of using people smarter than I am in whatever they do. And I have come to so many people, they are smarter than I am in marketing. They are smarter than I am in, just anything. And I think that's another thing helped me. I always enjoy working with smart people, and I use whoever is smarter than I am to help me to accomplish what I need to accomplish. Yeah.
I think both really solid pieces of advice, right? It really even doesn't even matter what the challenge is. It's, learn to overcome fear, and then find people that can help fill the gaps. Yeah. Because, right, none of us really are going to be great at everything or really be able to solve every single problem by ourselves.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that's sort of a nice thing, lesson in life that we all can learn from. So tell us, how do you integrate your work in life? You've got a successful business. We all got to live our lives. So what are your tips and tricks for integrating the things that you have to do?
I contribute my simple mind to part of my success. Simple mind means since I know I am very busy, I have the business to operate, and at the same time, I don't want to make my children feel like the mom is was never there. I know I probably would never be able to give them as much as a lot of other mom would able to give it to their children. But I definitely don't want my children to one day turn around and say that, Mom, you were never there. So I try to be there for them when they were growing up. And so my way of handling it is I don't fuss over things I don't need to fuss. So the simple mind is what I meant in this case. Is I make a simple and quick decision, and I carry it out, and I don't fuss over things I don't need to, and I find a good help wherever I need to. So be honest to you, I still remember when my kids were in, early, maybe their elementary school and then, junior high. I still remember I, managed to go to pick them up from school from time to time, and then just, take them home, spend a little bit of time with them before I get back to work again. It's just whatever I can grab the opportunity to do, and I would try to do it, and I don't fuss over things. So,
yeah, I think that's solid advice. I mean, life is hard enough. I mean, everybody's, trying to balance, and there's really no point in getting frustrated over, things that you can control. And I think I don't know. And of course, there's a certain section of our audience that will have children or caretaking responsibilities or pets or, elder care that we constantly have to balance. And so I just, I'm a firm believer in doing the best that we can. And I think everybody's trying to do the best they can. Well, so this has been fascinating. I'd love for you to wrap up with some comments around what would be your advice to women in STEM? The women who might be thinking about it or in the midst of their careers and wondering, or degrees and wondering if I should, keep going. What advice do you have for them?
Yeah, actually, my advice is very simple. Just take me as an example. Up to my college years, before I got into graduate school and start to get really busy with my career, I was actually established writer, and every person know me. They just think I would keep going with my writing and publish books or whatever. I don't know what they think I would do as a writer, but then when I set my mind to I want to understand how things work, I went to physics. Yeah, the classes are tough, but you kind of take a very open mind and not to focus on the difficulty part. Because everything is difficult. Everything new to a person is difficult. And just try to focus on the part of I want to learn. I want to learn. So let me just learn. And I think that's just how I handle everything. It's I always take a simple mind. I don't sweat the challenge of it and fear the challenge of it. I just take a step at a time. And knows what I want to accomplish at a time. So when I did my physics, I just want to learn how things work. And then when I switched to electrical engineering, I want to learn how I can make new things. And at the same time, I learn everything I need to learn about being a professor. And then when I switch from professor to the business person, I know I need to make change of seeing technology from a different aspect, not from a technical background, but from somebody that's going to use it and is going to love it, is going to pay for it. And so I think every step I take, I focus on. I need to do that one thing, and I don't look at the challenge part of it. I focus on what I want to get out of it, and I do all my work necessary to get there.
Well, that's fantastic. I think hard work, adaptability are, some of the themes that I've heard you talk about. And I, for one, of course, I've you still have plenty of time to become a writer, so it'll be so exciting to see. But I, for one, am glad that you stayed in STEM and were able to, create some really cool products that have impacted the world. So, and of course, it's totally possible to be an author as well. So there's just so many things that people can do with all of their talents. And,
actually, I've always told people if one day I decide to retire, I may go back to write books, explaining science or engineering to kids.
Yeah.
So definitely, and that's I totally agree with you. I think it's talking about simple mind. I think when someone go into STEM, I really don't think they need to be comparing other people's STEM life to theirs, because really STEM lives can be anything. It could be, like you said, I continue to write, even textbook or books in science and engineering, but it could be CEO, like I'm doing. It could be, engineer, and it really just. I really think STEM become a powerful tool for someone to be able to say, okay, after I have this degree, I know how things work. I know how, to make things. I want to do this one thing which makes me happiest and make me feel I really have control of my own life and my own career. So yeah, you are right. That's how I feel. It really can be anything. Yeah.
That is fantastic advice. Well, thank you, Dr. Hu, for being on the show today.
Sure.
We really appreciate your insight and your wisdom. Thanks for listening to the Women Tech Council Student Innovators Mentorship podcast series. Go to www.womentechcouncil.org for more info and subscribe to our iTunes channel for access to our ongoing series.